Right now, somewhere around you, someone less intelligent than you is making decisions that affect real outcomes. They're getting promoted. They're being listened to. They're shaping the room. And you're left wondering why your intelligence never seems to translate into influence. This isn't bad luck. It isn't unfairness. And it definitely isn't a lack of ability. It's a misunderstanding of the game. You were taught that intelligence means clarity. That if you explain yourself well enough, people will understand. That if your logic is strong, respect will follow. Machiavelli would call this belief dangerous, because intelligence without influence is invisible. The mistakes smart people make, smart people love to explain. They lay out their thinking. They justify decisions. They clarify intentions. They prove their reasoning. It feels productive, it feels honest, it feels fair. But power does not reward fairness. Power rewards leverage. And every time you explain yourself, you reduce leverage. You reveal how you think, what you value, what you fear, where you hesitate. You believe you're being transparent. In reality, you're giving away your blueprint. Why the quiet person wins. Think about any meeting you've ever been in. Who actually controls the room? Not the person talking the most. Not the person presenting slides. Not the person answering every question. It's the one who speaks last. The one who asks a single question that shifts the direction. The one who listens more than they talk. While others are performing, they are observing. And observation is power. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He warned that the lion alone is not enough. Strength without cunning gets trapped. The fox survives because it sees the traps first. Observation creates leverage. When you observe instead of explain, you gather information. Who interrupts whom? Who seeks approval? Who avoids eye contact? Who laughs too loudly? Who agrees too fast? These details reveal hierarchy. Most people miss them because they are busy trying to be liked or trying to be heard. But you don't enter a situation to announce yourself. You enter to understand the terrain. And when you understand the terrain, you don't need to argue. You already know how to move. Why less information means more control. The less people know about you, the harder it is to challenge you. If they don't know your reasoning, they can't poke holes in it. If they don't know your emotions, they can't manipulate them. They don't know your limits. They don't know where to push. Mystery creates hesitation. And hesitation shifts power away from them and towards you. This is not about deception. It's about discipline. The first Machiavellian shift here is the first shift that changes everything. Stop explaining. Start observing. You don't need to answer immediately. You don't need to justify every move. You don't need to prove how smart you are. Your intelligence should work quietly in the background. Let others reveal themselves. People always do a simple practice. Next time you enter a group setting, say almost nothing for the first 10 minutes. Watch who leads, who follows, who seeks validation, who holds silence comfortably. Patterns will emerge. And once you see them, you can never unsee them. Not action yet, not tactics yet. Just the realization that explaining feels intelligent, but observing creates influence. Now we'll explore the next shift. Why delayed reactions are more powerful than fast ones. And how pausing instead of reacting instantly elevates your status. Speed feels powerful. Responding fast feels confident. Quick answers feel intelligent. Immediate reactions feel decisive. But Machiavelli saw something most people miss. The faster you react, the easier you are to control. People who respond instantly are predictable. And predictability is weakness. Why fast reactions reveal too much. When you react immediately, you expose your internal state, your emotions, your priorities, your pressure points. A fast yes shows eagerness. A fast no shows defensiveness. A fast explanation shows insecurity. A fast reaction shows loss of control. You may think you're being efficient, but to someone observant, you're broadcasting information. And information is leverage. The power of the pause. Machiavelli believed timing was more important than force. A pause creates imbalance. When you delay your response, the other person fills the silence. They speak more. They clarify, they justify, they reveal intentions. Meanwhile, you gather data. The pause flips the dynamic. They wait, you decide, and whoever waits is no longer in control. Why silence feels threatening to others. Silence is uncomfortable because it removes reassurance. People rely on feedback to know where they stand. When you pause, they don't know if they impressed you, confused you, or failed. This uncertainty triggers anxiety, and anxious people talk. They explain more than necessary. They soften their stance. They expose their position. Machiavelli understood this well. Silence makes others negotiate with themselves. Delayed reaction versus indecision, this is important. Delay is not hesitation. It is calculated restraint. You are not unsure. You are unreadable. Indecision looks scattered. Delay looks intentional. One weakens authority, the other creates it. The key difference is posture. You remain calm, present, grounded, not rushed, not defensive, just waiting. How delay changes perception. Instantly people associate delay with importance. Important. People are not rushed. They are not pulled by urgency. They are not pressured by others' timelines. When you delay, your words feel heavier, your decisions feel deliberate, your presence feels stable. You stop being reactive and start being referenced. Others adjust to you. Why emotional control depends on timing. Most emotional mistakes happen because reactions are immediate. Anger speaks too fast. Fear responds too quickly. Ego jumps in without permission. Machiavelli believed emotional control was impossible without timing control. When you slow your response, emotion weakens, reason returns. This alone separates leaders from followers. A simple Machiavellian practice: the next time someone challenges you, questions you, or pressures you, do nothing for 3 seconds. No facial reaction, no verbal response, no justification, just stillness. Then respond calmly with fewer words than expected. You will feel the shift instantly. Why fewer words carry more power when you speak less. Each word matters. When you explain less, your statements feel final. Machiavelli warned that verbosity signals insecurity. Clarity with restraint signals authority. You don't need to convince, you only need to state. Speed makes you readable. Delay makes you powerful. Next, we will go deeper. How Machiavelli teaches you to use selective unpredictability. Why consistency in values but unpredictability in behavior keeps others cautious. And how this transforms intelligence into influence. Most people believe consistency is strength. They think being predictable makes them trustworthy, reliable, safe. Machiavelli understood a more dangerous truth. Predictability makes you manageable, and anything manageable can be controlled. Why predictability feels comfortable but isn't predictability reduces tension. People know how you'll react. They know what you'll say. They know where you stand. This creates comfort. But comfort invites testing. When people know your patterns, they push against them. They interrupt because they know you'll stay polite. They ask for more because they know you'll give. They disrespect boundaries because they know you'll explain. Your reliability becomes a weakness. The Machiavellian principle of controlled uncertainty. Machiavelli did not teach chaos. He taught controlled unpredictability. Your values remain stable. Your principles stay firm. But your responses vary. Sometimes you engage. Sometimes you disengage. Sometimes you speak. Sometimes you remain silent. This forces others to stay alert. They cannot relax around you. And relaxed people grow careless. Why unpredictability creates respect. Respect is born from caution. When people are unsure how far they can push, they push less. Unpredictability introduces risk. Risk creates hesitation. Hesitation creates space. And space is where power lives. Machiavelli believed that rulers should never allow themselves to be fully known. Not because secrecy is evil, but because total transparency removes leverage. How predictability is used against you. Once someone understands your pattern, they adapt their behavior to exploit it. They time requests when you are most agreeable. They provoke reactions when you are most emotional. They avoid confrontation when you are strongest. This isn't malicious. It's human nature. Machiavelli didn't judge this behavior. He warned against being blind to it. Selective unpredictability in action. This does not mean being erratic. It means breaking patterns. Strategically, you reply quickly, then next time you don't. You set boundaries calmly, then enforce them without warning. You engage warmly, then withdraw without explanation. People begin to adjust to you. An adjustment is submission. Why explanation weakens unpredictability. Every explanation restores predictability. It reassures. It clarifies. It removes uncertainty. Machiavelli believed that explanations should be rare. When you explain, you make yourself readable again. When you act without explanation, people fill the gap with interpretation. And interpretation magnifies your presence. The psychological effect on others as unpredictability increases. People think before speaking to you, challenges become cautious, disrespect becomes rare, your reactions are anticipated, but never known you are no longer taken lightly. Not because you are aggressive, but because you are not fully accessible. Why this protects you: unpredictability shields you from manipulation. Manipulation requires patterns. Remove the pattern, and the strategy collapses. You stop being a stable target. This is not about dominance. It is about defense through ambiguity. A simple Machiavellian practice: notice one predictable behavior you have. Then disrupt it gently, not with drama, not with explanation. Just change the pattern. Observe the reaction. You'll see the shift. Consistency in values earns trust. Unpredictability in behavior commands respect. Next, we will explore how Machiavelli teaches you to control emotional access, why warmth should be selective, and how limiting access transforms intelligence into authority. Most people give emotional access freely. They listen to everyone. They respond to everything. They explain how they feel. They reassure when tension appears. It feels kind, it feels open, it feels human. Machiavelli saw the danger in this, because access creates influence, and when access is unlimited, influence disappears. Why emotional availability reduces authority: when people know they can always reach you, your attention loses value. When they know you'll always explain, your decisions feel negotiable. When they know you'll always be warm, they stop protecting the relationship. Unlimited access creates entitlement, and entitlement destroys respect. Machiavelli believed that authority requires controlled distance, not coldness, not cruelty. Selectivity. The difference between connection and access: connection is mutual. Access is one-sided. You can be connected without being constantly available. But most people confuse the two. They believe reducing access means losing connection. In reality, it often deepens it. When attention must be earned, it becomes meaningful. Why distance creates value: value is created by scarcity. Not artificial scarcity, but natural limits. Machiavelli understood this principle long before economics named it. When you are not always accessible, people prepare before approaching you. Conversations become intentional. Interactions gain weight. Your presence feels significant. Distance forces others to respect your time. Controlling emotional exposure. Emotional exposure reveals leverage points. Your fears, your attachments, your hopes. Once known, they can be used. This is why Machiavelli advised restraint. You don't reveal everything. You'll reveal what serves the moment. This is not deception. It is self-preservation. Why over-explaining signals weakness? Explaining emotions seeks reassurance. It asks for understanding. Machiavelli believed authority does not ask to be understood. It acts. When you explain less, others assume there is depth they cannot access. Mystery replaces reassurance, and mystery elevates perception. The behavioral shift you'll notice as you limit emotional access. People listen more closely. Testing behavior decreases, respect increases, emotional manipulation fails. You are no longer pulled into unnecessary emotional labor. You choose when to engage. Warmth as a tool, not a habit. Warmth is powerful when it is deliberate. A warm response from someone who is usually reserved feels significant. It builds loyalty. Machiavelli understood this. Controlled warmth strengthens bonds. Automatic warmth weakens them. Why this protects your intelligence: when emotional noise reduces, your thinking sharpens. You stop reacting emotionally and start observing strategically. Your intelligence gains space. And intelligence, when protected, becomes influence. A simple practice: choose one situation where you normally over-engage emotionally. Respond with fewer words. No explanation, no reassurance, just clarity. Notice the change. Influence grows when access is earned, not when it is guaranteed. Now we will explore how Machiavelli teaches you to handle disrespect and testing, why calm non-reaction is more powerful than confrontation, and how intelligence becomes dominance without aggression. The moment your intelligence starts turning into influence, people will test you. Not openly, not dramatically, subtle comments, small challenges, passive disrespect, light sarcasm, boundary pushes, disguised as jokes. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. Testing is not hostility. It is curiosity about your limits. How you respond decides whether influence grows or collapses. Why most people fail these tests. Most people react emotionally. They defend, they explain, they argue, they raise their voice, they try to win. This feels strong, but Machiavelli would say it's the fastest way to lose position. Because reaction reveals insecurity, emotional attachment, loss of control, a need to be validated. The tester learns exactly where to press next time. Why aggression signals weakness. Aggression looks powerful on the surface, but psychologically, it communicates instability. It tells others, this affects me, this bothers me, this can move me. Machiavelli believed that what can be moved can be manipulated. True dominance is not loud, it is the Machiavellian response. Calm non-reaction. Calm non-reaction is deeply unsettling. You don't correct immediately. You don't defend yourself. You don't escalate. You pause. You look. You stay composed. This does something powerful. It removes the reward. The tester expected friction. They expected emotion. They expected engagement. They received nothing. And without reaction, the test dies. Why silence works better than words. Silence forces the other person to sit with their behavior. They replay what they said. They wonder how it landed. They feel exposed. Machiavelli understood. Silence turns the spotlight back onto them. Words give them a stage. Silence removes it. Non-reaction is not submission. This is important. Non-reaction is not weakness. It is restraint. You are not ignoring disrespect forever. You are choosing timing. Machiavelli believed responses should end situations, not extend them. Sometimes silence is enough. Sometimes distance follows. And sometimes a single, calm sentence closes the door completely. How distance enforces respect. If testing continues, the response shifts. Not confrontation, withdrawal, less access, less engagement, less warmth. Machiavelli taught that removing privilege is more effective than punishment. People correct behavior when they feel lost. Why this makes you hard to challenge when others realize they can't provoke you, they can't rush you, they can't shame you, they can't emotionally corner you, they stop trying. Testing becomes risky and risky behavior declines. This is dominance without hostility. The psychological shift others feel as calm, non-reaction becomes consistent. Disrespect fades, tone improves, caution increases, your presence feels heavier. You don't need to demand respect. You generate it. A simple Machiavelli practice. The next time someone tests you, don't respond immediately. Don't explain. Don't smile to smooth it over. Pause. Hold eye contact. Respond calmly or not at all. Let the silence do the work. Power is not shown by how strongly you react, but by how little you need to. Next, we will explore why detaching from reputation is essential to influence, how being misunderstood protects power, and why those who try to control opinions always lose leverage. At a certain point, something uncomfortable happens. You stop explaining yourself. You stop reacting emotionally. You stop chasing approval, and people begin to talk. They speculate, they assume, they misunderstand your intentions. This is where most intelligent people panic. They rush to correct the story. Machiavelli warned strongly against this impulse, because the need to be understood is the final weakness of intelligent people. Why reputation feels so important. Reputation feels like security. You believe if people understand you, they'll trust you, respect you, support you. But Machiavelli saw the trap. When you depend on reputation, you hand others control. They can reward you with approval, or punish you with misunderstanding. And anything that can be punished can be controlled. Why explaining? Yourself weakens you. Every explanation is a defense, and defense implies vulnerability. When you explain motives, you invite judgment. When you justify decisions, you lower yourself to public opinion. Machiavelli believed power does not argue its existence, it demonstrates it. Actions shape perception far longer than explanations ever will. The advantage of ambiguity. Ambiguity creates caution. When people are unsure about you, they hesitate. They don't know your limits, they don't know your priorities. They don't know how you'll respond. This hesitation protects you. Machiavelli understood that clarity invites manipulation. Ambiguity blocks it. Why powerful people are often misunderstood. History proves this pattern. The most influential figures were rarely fully understood in their time. Not because they were dishonest, but because they refused to over-explain. They let time, consistency, and outcomes speak. Machiavelli believed that those who chase approval lose independence. Those who accept misunderstanding gain freedom. Letting others be wrong about you, this is difficult. Your ego wants correction. Your pride wants fairness. But Machiavelli would say, not everyone deserves clarity. Some people misunderstand out of insecurity, others out of envy, others because clarity would threaten their position. Correcting them gains nothing. Letting them be wrong costs you nothing. What actually builds reputation? Machiavelli believed reputation is built by three things only: consistency, restraint, results, not words, not defenses, not explanations. When behavior aligns over time, truth emerges naturally. If it doesn't, no explanation can save it. The emotional freedom this creates when you detach from reputation. Criticism loses its sting, praise loses its pull, gossip loses its urgency, opinions lose their power. You act from strategy, not fear. And fear is the enemy of influence. Why this makes you untouchable? People manipulate through perception. They shame, they praise, they threaten misunderstanding. But when reputation no longer controls you, their tools disappear. Machiavelli believed this was the highest form of defense. A simple Machiavellian practice: the next time you feel misunderstood, do nothing. Let silence protect you. Let consistency correct the story. Let time do the work. You do not need to be understood to be influential. At a certain point, something shifts. You are no longer trying to persuade. You are no longer trying to impress. You are no longer trying to be understood. And without announcing it, authority begins to form around you. Machiavelli believed authority does not come from position. It comes from posture. How you move, how you decide, how little you need validation. The difference between influence and authority: influence persuades, authority directs. Influence requires effort, authority requires presence. When you influence, you explain why something should happen. When you hold authority, you state what will happen. Machiavelli understood that authority is taken, not granted. It emerges when others sense that you are Why approval seeking kills authority? Approval seeking signals dependence. It asks, is this okay? Do you agree? Am I accepted? Authority asks none of these. When people sense you need agreement, they feel above you. When they sense you will act regardless, they adapt. This is not arrogance. It is internal alignment. Decisiveness is the backbone of authority. Indecision erodes perception quickly. Hesitation invites challenge. Over-deliberation invites interference. Machiavelli taught that a flawed decision, executed decisively, is often stronger than a perfect one delayed. Why? Because decisiveness communicates ownership. Ownership commands respect. People may question your choice, but they will follow your certainty. Why people test emerging authority? When authority appears, people test it. They question boundaries. They push limits. They seek reactions. This is natural. Testing is how humans locate hierarchy. If you waver, authority collapses. If you remain steady, testing stops. Machiavelli advised rulers to respond consistently, not emotionally. Authority does not need constant visibility. One of Machiavelli's most subtle lessons. True authority exists even in absence. If your presence is required to maintain order, you are supervising, not leading. Authority shapes behavior when you are not there. This happens through consistency. Your actions today become expectations tomorrow. Why authority is more stable than popularity? Popularity rises and falls. Authority stabilizes. People may like you one day and resent you the next. But if authority is established, respect remains. Machiavelli believed it was better to be respected than liked, because liking is emotional. Respect is structural, and structures last. The psychological effect on others as authority consolidates. People seek your input. Conversations slow when you speak. Decisions defer to you. Resistance decreases not because you demanded obedience, because your presence feels grounded. Why this protects your intelligence? Once authority replaces approval, your intelligence is no longer wasted. You stop over-explaining, you stop justifying, you stop defending. Your mind moves strategically. And strategy, not brilliance, wins influence. A simple Machiavellian practice: next time you make a decision, state it calmly. Don't explain unless asked. Don't soften it. Don't seek reassurance. Observe the shift. We will complete the transformation. How intelligence, once protected, it becomes untouchable. Influence. Why those who no longer need approval cannot be controlled. And how this is the most dangerous position of all. At the final stage of this transformation, something irreversible happens. You no longer try to shape perception. You no longer chase agreement. You no longer defend your position. You move, and others adjust. This is the moment Machiavelli would recognize as true influence. Not dominance through force, but control through independence. Why the need to be liked was the last weakness. Machiavelli understood that most people are not controlled by threat. They are controlled by approval. Approval shapes behavior quietly. It determines what you say, what you tolerate, what you avoid, where you hesitate. The moment approval no longer governs you, manipulation loses its tools. No praise can steer you. No rejection can punish you. No misunderstanding can corner you. This is why Machiavelli believed, the most dangerous person is the one who does not need emotional permission to act. Why untouchable influence feels quiet. True influence does not announce itself. It does not posture. It does not intimidate. It does not seek attention. It operates in the background. People begin aligning with you without being told. Decisions reflect your direction even when you are absent. It is an influence without effort, and effortlessness signals mastery. Why manipulators lose interest in you. Manipulation requires leverage, fear, ego, approval, urgency. When none of these move you, manipulators disengage. You become expensive to control, and expensive targets are avoided. This is one of my deepest insights. Independence is the highest form of defense. The shift others feel around you, you may notice subtle changes. People choose words more carefully. Requests become respectful. Testing disappears. Conversations feel measured. This is not fear, it is recognition. They sense boundaries without seeing them. Why this does not make you isolated. Many fear that detachment leads to loneliness. Machiavelli would say the opposite. You lose shallow connections, yes, but you gain respect-based alignment. Those who remain are not there for access or validation. They are there because they choose to be. This is fewer people but stronger bonds. What dangerous really means. Machiavelli never meant violence. He meant unusable. A dangerous person is not predictable, not approval dependent, not emotionally reactive, not easily pressured, not controllable. They cannot be rushed into mistakes. They cannot be flattered into submission. They cannot be shamed into silence. They act from strategy, not fear. The final Machiavellian identity at this stage, your intelligence is no longer wasted. It is protected. You observe more than you speak. You decide more than you explain. You act more than you react. You are internally governed. And internal governance creates external influence. The final truth, Machiavelli's lesson, is not about cruelty. It is about clarity. Because the moment you stop needing approval, you stop being owned. You stop being steered. You stop being shaped. You become directed, and the self-directed person cannot be controlled.